This is Jonathan Buckley, public speaking teacher at Edina High School, and today we are going to be looking at the forms of communication lesson. And our objective is that students will learn the 4 different forms of communication and begin to apply those forms to real life situations. Alright, so let's get started. So there are 4 basic forms of communication. And when words are clearly put together, they build a solid communication system intended to communicate a specific message. And those 4 forms are written, oral, nonverbal, and symbol communication. So let's start with written communication. Written communication is any communication that simply must be read. So for example, this particular PowerPoint presentation that we have here with all these words on it is written communication. We have to read those. If you look at a billboard, that would be written communication. If you're reading a book or a magazine or looking at something on the internet that involves words, that's all written communication. The next form of communication that we have is oral communication. And oral communication is any communication that is spoken. So for example, right now I'm giving an oral presentation with this written communication by sharing or talking through the different concepts that are on this particular presentation. So oral communication, again, is any communication that is spoken. Then we get into nonverbal and symbol communication. And nonverbal communication is really very, very powerful. Nonverbal communication is any communication that expresses attitudes or moods about a person, situation, or idea. And this comes in the form of gestures, facial expressions. Those sorts of things can indicate certain messages, and we call those nonverbals. And those nonverbals sometimes don't even match up with what the written or the oral communication might be. Someone might say something, and they might say something affirmatively, but they actually might not be true to that with how they're indicating through their body language. And then the final form of communication is symbol communication. And symbol communication is anything that stands for an idea and is used for communication. Now, of course, symbols are very common in society. So, for example, the American flag is a symbol. The stop lights are a symbol. Red means stop. Green means go. And so these different symbols can be used verbally or non-verbally. A good example might be in coaching. So I coach girls basketball, and one of the things we use verbal and nonverbal symbol communication within our offensive and defensive schemes. So we have a press that's called fist, and that's a verbal symbol. The symbol is fist, and fist actually stands for a full court press in a 1-2-1-1 set. And then there's a number of different rules that the press has, where we have to trap in certain areas, we have to cover open areas, we have to deal with ball reversals, but it's all symbolized in that verbal word of fist. It's also a nonverbal symbol because we also use fist like this to indicate that we're running fists. So someone on the floor after scoring a basket might just hold up their fist, and that will then nonverbally represent the symbol of running our fist defense. So that is the 4th form of communication. So again, written, oral, nonverbal, and symbol communication make up the 4 basic forms of communication.